Hello, everyone. This is 3 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, and we have our regular webinars from me to you. And today we have this interesting topic that I have been preparing. This is also part of the book that I'm writing on my second book. You know, I have this first book called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. The second book is called Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. So instead of starting the business at 8 a.m., and here I am talking about growing the business at 10 a.m. So that's the second book. And in the second book, because it's growing the business, so I wrote about the issues that we have, generally speaking, when you start a business and you grow them, and what you would encounter, and particularly for the pandemic time, then I talked about how this pandemic brought different views, different situations to the business. So this is more of a session for Business Wise of 2022. We mark that for the year of 2022 because it will not be any other year like this year. It's a very different year. So before I start, I just want to touch base on our firm. And we are a CPA firm. We're located in 3 different states and have 3 different branches, obviously. And you can reach us on communitycpa.com and a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is where we put all of our webinars. After this webinar, we put webinars in YouTube, so you can check that out later. But today, what we really want to talk about is over this past 4 months, and we already did we finished the tax season, and we had met majority of our clients in that time, in that 4 months time. So we heard a lot of things going on, and I want to kind of lay out what's in front of us in 2022 for all of our small business owners. And obviously, and I want to say that the webinar is really a way for us to deliver our knowledge, and you want to take the knowledge with a grain of salt, and you want to take the responsibility how you use our webinars. And please, do not just blindly and quote and in your courtroom and quoting things from the webinar, because this is a free site and we want to give you our opinion. Then you can use that in your operation or guide you for certain positions, but it is not an authoritative website or webinar that represents the opinion of the government, and in fact not. So let's go to talk about what we really see during the tax season. In fact, during the tax season is really the time for us as a firm, for us to feel what is going to happen for the rest of the year. It's always that way. Of course, the last 2 years tax season was totally batched up by COVID-19. It's not even a season. In 2020, it goes on the full year, right? And in 2021, it is still delayed and nothing was normal. But this tax season is relatively normal, right? And we still require folks to come in with face masks, but we actually did have a normal communication with our client. Our client come in this short period of time, come in with their history of 2021. And they also talk about 2022. And we hear all the issues, and we also see all the potentials and the changes in the market. That is what we want to talk about today. We hope that this 1 hour and would give you some understanding of how other people are doing. You know, as a business owner, I knew that, and you are alone. You actually do not have any way to know how your competitor or the other person who does the same business as you and how they do it, how they survive. You have no idea. And we happen to be sitting in a place where we see so many businesses, we see so many business owners, so we can bring you this general understanding, take away that loneliness, and really give you some ideas of what's going on right now and why am I feeling this way. And I'm going to cite certain statements from our small business owners that you can relate. And I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7 of them. So listen to me. This is what small business owner telling me. You know, they're saying that, well, I think 2020 was hard. And actually 2021 is harder. Does that sound familiar to you? If you are a business owner, and I think you're nodding when I say that. This is a comment we hear again and again from small business owners. And the small business owner also says that I can't find anyone to work for me. Is that statement you have never heard? Or that is something by now you almost get used to it? Okay, the small business owner also says that I owe government a bunch of money if I close my business right now, but I need to close and I'm not making it. And the small business owner, we know, also says that I don't have any work to do because materials arriving so late. I have 4 months waiting period. Doesn't that sound like someone in the construction, right? And we also have small business owners saying that my partner decided to not care because he gets more money from the government than working in the partnership. Heard of that too. Cannot run my grocery business anymore as my food stamp program expired. I did not even know. The government transitioned everything online. I don't even have an email address. I don't know how to use computer. Sound familiar? A lot of small businesses are getting out of business because of that online transition. And then we also hear business owners say that DOL just charged my business for $900,000 for paying cash to the kitchen workers. Heard of that? And actually, not only you heard of that, you also can find those news online. And cannot work because my kids need to go to daycare. The daycare is charging more than what I make. Heard of that? I lost renters in my property and no one wants to rent office space anymore. What do I do? Heard of that? I just started my business, but the price I quote to my client couldn't even cover my cost. Sound familiar? All of these statements are coming from the small business owners. I will tell you that the economy, the world here in the United States is going through a shift in business. Small business owners, we will see folding left and right with the economy the way it is. If you are a small business owner, you want me to give you a definition? That means you make sales less than 20 million. If your sales is $20 million and less, you are defined as a small business owners, small businesses by IRS standards, by SBA standards. So in our firm, we see clients from 1 million to 100 million. And we really understand the struggle that is in the first cluster of clients. And they are the one, you know, working their own jobs and creating their own income. And they're the one that struggles right now. And for this new economy order that we have never seen. But you are not alone. You are not alone in this whole process. And this is actually should be considered as a normal situation of today. Every small business deal with issues that you have never had before. So you just had some issues right now you had never had before. And many small businesses will fold just because they don't have the resources. They can't hire people. They couldn't fight the inflation. And the things are too expensive and they can't run their operation the way it was. So it requires small business now to rethink what you're doing. And I do have that idea for you. And I want to talk to you because I talk to many our clients. When they come to me, if I have a chance, look at their financials and then look at their future, look at 2022, we talk. And those are the items that I want to deliver to you today. And inflation is hitting at a historical high. And I don't care what you do on internet. And there is no brainer to calculate inflation, folks. Just go home and look at one of the simplest items on your grocery shopping list. Take green pepper as example and see whether you can find a receipt from 2019 from any grocery store you went, and look at what it costs today. And that price increase is your inflation. Inflation is not calculated on, higher value item. Inflation for people, for small business owners, it is what we eat every day. It is what we use every day. We don't go to Tiffany every day. We don't care how Tiffany jewelry goes up, but we do care how green peppers in the grocery store are going up. And that is what you are looking at, inflation. Inflation is historical high. And I have been living in this country for a long time. And I have not seen price going up the way it does right now. So that is alarming. That says to business owner that you got to come out of shell to know exactly how to survive with your supply being so high and with your customer being so unhappy because you are raising your price and figure it out. That's everybody's task. All right. So now unemployment rate is also high. There's a lot of people unemployed. But this time high is not because there's no work. You know what that because? Because the labor market is going through mental illness. And because people had learned through pandemic how easy that is to have the government money coming through their pocket. And the work ethics went into the drain, and the personal interest and the wellness, personal wellness become a huge issue. Yes, we have a lot of young people going through depressions. We have a lot of, mid-aged people, and it just decided that they're going to change their life from beginning to the end. So there is a human mental struggle that comes with the pandemic. It is not something you and I can control, and you and I can witness that. We can see that. But most of the small business owners are mentally tough people. If you're not mentally tough, you're done already. If you're still staying here listening to me today, you are mentally tough because you're willing to face it. You're going to figure out a way to do it. Right? So this labor market, this unemployment rate is a totally different cause. It is not because of there's no job. It is because there's no job the seeker is happy with. But the seeker is not happy with the job and, had higher standards because of the society, because of the COVID, because of all what come upon us for the last 2 years. So again, it is a strange time, and the business will consolidate, folks. Do you know that the business is consolidating at the highest speed we have ever seen? What I mean by consolidate means the large business is buying small business, and someone come to buy you, and you're becoming part of the large business. The wealth concentration is going to lift higher and higher. Small business, to start up a small business is harder and harder. And this is just a reality in 2022. All right. So now I know you want to, it feels like I give you a bunch of complaints. It's not a complaint. It is the environment we're in. Okay. And when you are in such an environment, complaint doesn't do anything. It's just that we have to face the reality, say, okay, as my small business, what do I do and how am I going to face it? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. Here I want to talk to you. Number one, and what I need you to do in your operation and for your business is a mental strength exercise. You got to know that nothing stays forever. And yes, you couldn't find anybody to work for you. So you put your kids, you put your husband, you put your wife, you put your grandma and everybody on the job. And it just doesn't look very great. And it is like, it's draining your family relationship. It is making the kids cry and everything happens to you, but say okay to it. And that's what it is. Okay, that's a test for your mental strength. And I won't elaborate that because I'm just not a psychologist, but I do know if you do have that strength, you will come through this period like nothing happened. So that's number one. It's the biggest one, but it's the one that I can give you the least information how to be. And if you ask me, hey, Ying, what is your mental strength? If you rank yourself from 1 to 10, 10 being the strongest, 1 being the lowest, I'll tell you that my mental strength, I believe, is at 11. And that is how you do it. And there is nothing should face you. And figure it out, and you can do it, right? All right. Then the next one on my list is to further defining your business niche. You know, a lot of times we have a business set up. You probably went on your business for years and it was just fine. You are a buffet restaurant and it just did well and did fine. But now I need you to take a look at that model, redefine that niche. I'll give you an example. For everything I tell you, I'll give you an example of what I know other people do. So for example, we know a beauty salon who used to provide a full body, full care beauty treatment, from eyebrows to facial and a body massage. So it's a whole set of service. Okay, so their niche is like the full body beauty treatment. Now, with the pandemic, you can imagine they didn't get RF and they didn't get a lot of things that restaurant gets, but they are impacted the same way because people don't come to get those treatment anymore. And nobody goes out. Everybody's on face mask. Who need to look beautiful? No need for that, right? So their business went down and their employee left. And so by the time now it is about to going normal, so business start to getting more clients, and the business owner had made a niche definition of what they can do because she can only allocate certain type of employees that coming back to the office. So whoever the one who can does eyebrows is coming back, so she opens up that line. Then from there, and she redefined the business content and to only focus on that she can do. But since you got the person coming back and you really want to give a lot of business to that person so they can make more money, then they can feel fulfilled and they can work a longer hours and making it, right? So instead of advertising any other things, and the business owner will niche in certain item with supply of people and then to advertise those services. Obviously, the pandemic is opening up, so there's more and more people looking for these services now just because it is about time to go out. So it's not lacking of client, but yet the business line has been further defined. So they don't have to provide all the services. They couldn't get people to cut hairs, so forget about hair cutting. So they redefined their model. They re-advertised what they do. And they made money and they grow what they can grow. And be flexible, redefine your niche. And that is something required of every business to examine your operation and come up with that. That's our number 2 item. Our number 3 item is to rethink your labor sources. When I say rethink your labor sources, I'm not saying that maybe you need accountant, now you start looking for lawyers. No. And rethink your labor sources, it simply means that you need to look at where you get your employees. Maybe, and you don't need this kind of functions, you don't need employees. Maybe this is something that you can automate, so you don't need employees for that. And maybe that portion of the service, you can outsource that to other employees, to other places. And for example, we have a physician practice, and in Maryland area, and the practice actually needed 2 subscribers for the doctor's notes. So in the past, it's always in the house. They had two people working. And through the pandemic, things were going so hectic and they lost them. So what they do is they start contracting them to overseas, to have those notes translated by overseas service providers. There, you have a labor sources that is totally outside of what labor market here in the US. And you also want to look for labor sources that's different from your business. For example, and we have a restaurant owner was looking for waiter and waitress. That's very normal, right? In the past, and they're just looking for waiter and waitress in that pool of laborers and people without education and applying for this job and the places they know, the manpower places they go to get it. But this restaurant owner also understand there's a lot of young people are out there, don't want to work. And they don't want to work because they don't want the mental strength, the mental stress. They want something simple to work. They want to come and go as they want. So they cater to that group and getting young people educated with master degrees, bachelor degrees, come into the restaurant, do a couple hours work and when they want to, but getting more resources in a totally different pool to feed the restaurant. So change your labor sources. Think through that because you don't have to go back to where you used to get people and to be innovative. That is where you can find people because people's needs are very different. And I even heard the restaurant owners that go into senior houses and there's some seniors, they're not really, their health is well and they can work. And they can bring them back to the workforce to work. So just be open-minded, think about the labor sources, where you go for your labor sources. And of course, overseas is one choice, but there's many other avenues you can seek in the market that you're in right now, in the society, in the community you're in. Just be outside of the box thinking who is your employee. You don't have to get the employees of the regular type. You can be innovative. Very important in that. And I hope that opens some thinking for you. And pivot to a new way to do your business. That is our fourth item. Every business has an old way. And every business have new ways. Maybe you don't know what they are, but you have your old ways. And maybe you are always doing that, always successful. And then now suddenly you felt that didn't work as smooth as before. And, the most easy to spot changes in a new way is virtual, right? So you make things virtual. That's a new way. Like in our community CPA world and our new way, we pivot into virtual. So you are hearing me talk today is virtual. I did not meet you, but I am hoping this message will reach out to so many of our clients so they don't have to spend an hour at a time with me to get that same knowledge. They can just listen to that and be innovative in their own shop, right? So new way, virtual and for community CPA, but what about for a restaurant? And for a restaurant, and there is a new way. And do you know that there's many restaurants went away from menus? They have this barcode on the table. You go in, you scan the barcode, the menu shows up on your phone. And what's the benefit of doing that? If you do that, you no longer bring attention to your price increase. I know you have to increase your price. Restaurant owners, if you are a restaurant owner, you come to tell me that you have not increased your price, I won't say you are good and you are so good to your client. Congratulations, you're great and you're doing it for free. Why don't you just do it for free? And you should not be labeling yourself as a business. You cannot sustain, and it is you not savvy enough to make yourself survive. There is nobody I know in the restaurant business doesn't increase price. Now, when you increase price, you could have a menu and with all the stickers on it and change your price. What did that do? Your customer goes, whoa, that price changed. They may even be curious to take away your stickers and looking at what was the price before. But what if you have the barcode on the table and you update the price with your supply, folks? That's a new way, right? And even for the businesses that it doesn't have a lot of ways to be new. For example, grocery stores. People come in to do grocery shopping. So how much of a new way you gonna have? Of course you can have a new way. And you can have your, during the pandemic, people are lining up outside and they release people to go into the store at a time. Now there's no such thing anymore. And the new way could be, and you make your cashier side and more convenient. So people are not lining up next to each other. And the new way could be delivering your groceries for the customers, for the restaurants who come to buy things from you, and you started delivering. And the new ways, there's many new ways. So think of a new way that is not the same as the old way. You know how you run it. If I just say create a new way, you go, I don't know what that is. The new way just different from what you do before. If you have not made changes since 2020, you are behind the 8 ball and you are not going to last. And I want to see the small businesses with me and the scale. You will. And I personally provide what I call fractional CFO service. That means I come in and I just be the CFO of your company and for a fractional time. And I only take 15 clients a year. I cannot do more. But these 15 businesses, I monitor them. I will think new ways for you. But what you need to do is after this talk with me, after listening to me talking about new ways, I want you to sit down to write your ways today. And then you break it down to see which one can improve. You've got to do that. Otherwise, you can't get through 2022. My number 5 is allow new pricing. So hard to talk about that. So hard. Because as our small business owners, I know where you come from. And you started the business and offering service. You haven't even made a penny yet. You already think about donating all the money to your community. And you don't want to charge your client. Every client comes in, you want to give a discount. And you just want to sacrifice all of your money and to make the world better. And that is the majority of the small business I see. That's how you even started your business, because you want to benefit the community. And now I'm telling you that, go get a new pricing for your product. You're sitting here goes, Ying, I cannot do that. I literally have our client and sit here said, Ying, I cannot do that. I'll lose all my client. And there is no way I can increase the price. I just have to make nothing or make less. Okay, if you can make less and survive, that's fine. What if you make nothing? You think you can survive from making nothing? There's nobody make nothing. They either fold or they make money. In business, there's no such a thing about make nothing. When you talk about make nothing, you are already on your way to fold. You will lose money. You for sure lose money. But can you really sustain when you lose money? No, nobody can really sustain. And it's not like you have a printing money machine at home. Every time you lose money, you're just going to print more like our federal government. It doesn't work that way in small business, folks. Every time you have money, you have to borrow, right? If you cannot make it, you borrow. The result of borrowing, it's just going to make you heavy in debt. You can never come out. So allow new price. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Allow yourself to do a scientific calculation. And I know that you should not be closing your eyes or look at your neighbor goes, oh, he increased by $3, so I'm doing that too. A lot of people are doing that. But what if you don't know what your neighbor is doing? And you don't have a benchmark. I always tell our folks that you should not look too hard outside of you. Look at your business, see what price works for you. And that is what you're going to go, especially today. Maybe the way I say it is not fit for 20 years ago, but for 2022 is definitely rules you need to follow. You need to look at your pricing. Look at how much it takes you to get stuff. Look at how much labor cost you're going to have, and then come up with your cost, then make a margin. If you are really, really good with calculating your cost, you make a very thin margin, you can survive, that's fine for right now. But the problem is, if you don't do these calculations accurately, you can end up with what? You can end up with knowing that you are selling less than what you're paying for. And then don't forget your labor cost. You think your labor cost is reduced? No. You think you hire your mother-in-law so you don't have to pay her? Dream it. Mother-in-law, you have to pay her even more. Trust me. If it is not in money, you have to pay her something else more. I would rather just pay money more so I don't get involved with, this daughter-in-law or this son-in-law. It's just really bad and using me and doesn't pay me. So don't do that to your mother-in-law. And you do have to calculate that real cost for your mother-in-law and the cost of your material and come up with your price. And I know you're going to say, no, Ying, all my clients going to walk and I'm just not going to have any client. Let me tell you something. A lot of business are going to close. A lot this year. And if you can stay sustaining through 2022, you'll make it. And you won't lose client. You lose some client, but you gain more because there's no place else to get that service. And that is what's going to happen in the market. So following that, my number 6 is to say, plan your survival with less sales. That's really the key. If you cannot find people to work, if you cannot produce the volume you had because you don't have the material, then you need to survive with less sales. How do you do that? That would require you to really have scientific calculations, really for you to know your business. And to know your business, it is not that you just talk to your customer and look at your bank balance. That's not enough, folks. That is not your business. Your bank balance says a little bit about your business, but not the whole picture. Unless you are such a simple business, and say if you are just one person nail shop, and whatever you deposit is all your income, and you know your expense, sure. And that sounds like simple thing, and you probably know what you make. Your bank balance probably reflected what you make, but not when you have employees, not when you have inventories, not when you have receivables, not when you have payables. All of these stuff will make your bank balance irrelevant. And you can't look at the bank goes, oh, I'm doing pretty good. I still have $5,000 there. No, you have $6,000 bill you didn't even pay. And you're talking about you have $5,000? No, you have a $1,000 negative. So survival with less sales require you to do calculation, and you really need to know your business well. So with that, and I want to say that in 2022, and if you are in the business, you felt the hardship already for the first 3 months, it is coming harder on you. So you want to plan how to survive with less sales. Then the number 7, but not the least, is invest in professional service, professional help. I'm not talking about you invest, you're paying fees to Community CPA and increase that. That's not my point. My point is for you to invest in professional service. For example, if you happen to get a building and you want to save taxes, there's a thing called cost segregation. You should invest professional people to get your cost segregation done so you can do it right. And I tell you to do it right because I have a whole set of things need to talk to you. What's coming up when the country goes through recession? And it's not a good news for small business. It's just not. Okay. And now invest in professional help. It is to say that not only you pay the fees. Of course, when you get professional service, you pay fees. I am talking about investing your emotional and your personal time to get to know that professional person you rely on. You want that person to know you. Obviously, you know, there are people and who are working with our firm don't know me at all. They never talk to me. And it is other people, other professionals in our firm working with them. But get to know that professional really well. Doesn't matter who you are working with. You want to really invest your time to get to know that person, evaluating the skills and know what they do for you, and understand it is more important than ever to have your accounting done properly, to have your tax submitted, filed properly, because what's coming up in recession? Yes, I'm talking about recession. I think recession is coming, and I think it's coming this time differently than 2008. In 2008, it hit the financial institution. But in 2022, the recession hitting small businesses, hitting you, hitting me, hitting people within the $20 million threshold. And that's what recession, the nature of the recession this time. And to invest in professional help is a must. If you don't have this kind of help, and you're going to lose the battle. And I want to give you the audit that is coming in when recession hit, because this is what happens to the government. Whenever there is a recession, there is an increase in compliance audits. When I say compliance audit, what do I mean? I mean the government sends you a letter, tell you that you are being audited, or tell you that we like to look at what you do of this. So SBA hasn't even started yet, folks. And who did not get pandemic dollars? From PPP to EIDL grants, from EIDL loan to RRF, sheltered venue grants. Hey, and there's so many things governments are giving out. The state, those government can come back to audit you for the grants you got. Of course, we're thankful for getting the grants, right? But you also want to make sure that you have spent the money according to the grant requirement. How do you make sure that? That's your accountant. Your accountant should book the accounting properly so you can present your record to the government without issue. And that is what I mean by investing in professional service. So now let's talk about what kind of compliance I'm already seeing. And this is not a projection. This is not a fortune telling. And this is what had already happened and is happening on the market. And if you check today's news, there is a DOL big news about a barbecue franchise, and it did something on labor law and owed $900,000. Okay, so these are compliance audit, and they will increase that because you will end up paying the government what they ask you to pay. So now let's go through what kind of audit we have right now already. And I'll tell you what is coming up. So we will use that to really heighten your awareness of compliance. Because if you are a small business owner, you think you're small, the government should not bother with you, you're so wrong. And you're small, that's why the government would bother you more. Okay? It is not the other way around. If you're big, they probably don't bother you. And not because they are afraid of the big business, no. It's because the big business can hire more people to do the right thing. They know that the gap existed with the small business. So yeah, you are the candidate. So we need to do the right thing, right? So one compliance we see the most right now, folks, is payroll related. And there are 3 governments auditing the same thing on you. You could be audited 3 times in the same year by 3 different governments. You want to know who they are? It is your state workforce. They will audit you on the payroll. They don't want you to have subcontractors. They will look at all your subcontractors, including them in payroll, so they charge you. The second one, DOL. They come to audit you because they want to make sure you're paying your laborers the overtime and you're not making them working more hours than you need, than you should. You cannot deduct on any meals and whatever they're doing. So there is a whole set of DOL law to protect the lower wage industry people, the laborers. So you can be audited for that. That's your number 2. Number 3 is IRS. IRS can come in to audit your 941, your W-2, or audit you for worker classification. So just for payroll, folks, you got 3 government can breathing on your neck, and you think that you should not be doing your payroll right? Come on. If you do business, you have payroll. If you have payroll, you really want to make sure you are done everything in compliance. So that's the biggest one. And the penalty on those is huge. With DOL, if you owe me, let's say I am working for you and you didn't pay me the overtime, for $100 overtime you owe me, the DOL will charge you $200. That's what they do. So you owe $100,000. I'm sorry, you need to pay $200,000. And that's the penalty. And with IRS, there's more penalty. There's penalty on civil penalty, charge you for wrongdoing. And that is, civil penalty is 50% of whatever you owe. And then also interest penalty and interest charges and the penalty for not filing it accurately. So there's a bunch of penalty there. All right. And then, of course, your workforce, they have penalty too, your state. So payroll compliance, folks, you just don't want to play with payroll, and it has to be done properly. And of course, in 2022, if the payroll compliance folks come around, it doesn't matter which government they are. And maybe you had already used the payroll for PPP, and then there is a lot more looking into from PPP to ERC. All of these things are interconnected. So if I were you, I make that connection with my payroll processor. And if you go, oh, my payroll processor is 1-800 number, I never really talked to a real person. I'm sorry, I think that's a wrong approach for doing your payroll. You need a real person. You need a local, you need your CPA that you can see eye to eye to work your payroll. And that is how much of compliance is coming for payroll. Another one is coming through really significantly. It is money laundering related compliance audit. And that is related to all the industry for everybody. Okay, it is including the grocery stores who does wire transfer, and also the businesses who does the wire transfer and the consumer loans, and including the online retailers or any retailers, and related to every business. If you receive cash for payment from your customer, let me ask you, do you know that if you receive cash over 10,000, you're supposedly to file 8300 form for that person who gave you the cash? That is responsibility of every business. And if you don't really know anything about that, we have a webinar to talk about it. So you really want to make sure you do. And you may ask me, okay, I don't know that. I probably forgot. And what's the damage? The damage is $260 per 8300 form that you forgot. And the maximum is 1.3 million a year, a pretty large damage. Okay, so that is another compliance that coming through really heavily. And we, Community CPA, we're just in a really unique situation because we see things coming to us. Then we can literally feel what is important right now, just because the sheer number of clients that we have. So I want to tell you, if you are here today with me, you want to know that you need to understand those money laundering requirements for every business. And if you happen to be in that business, you can be sure you will be compliance reviewed. Another one, sales tax audit. Sales tax audit is a state-driven audit. It's huge. And the state generating revenue from that. And they can audit you for use tax. What is use tax? Use tax are the things you bought to use in your business you did not pay sales tax for. So if you set up a new business and you bought a bunch of furniture, you use it, and you didn't pay sales tax for that, you owe use tax. So don't make a mistake. And if you are using the item in your business, you're supposed to pay use tax. So they come to audit you use tax, especially if they know you are a new business. The state will be smart enough that to know you bought furniture, you bought equipment, and you did all these things. And if they don't see you filing use tax, they're coming. Sales tax. Did you file your sales tax right? And they can come to look at your journal and examine your POS system to make sure that you reported every penny. Okay. And a lot of states, when they come to the cash side of things, if the restaurant business didn't really deposit the cash, they use 20% of ratio for cash. Is that really your ratio right now? Actually, I don't think so. After pandemic, your ratio probably went down by a lot. But if you get audited, that's the ratio they use. So you want to make sure that you're doing it right and have your accountant doing it right for you, right? And the income tax audit is another one. It has always been there for income tax audit, but with the deficit we have, and with the pandemic in the real mirror, you don't think income tax is coming back to you? Of course it does. It is here. And the income tax is on your personal income tax return, on your business income tax return. It is everywhere. They can do 3 years on you. So right now, if you get audited right now, and they're auditing you 1920 and 2021. Okay, so that's our income tax. And SBA audit didn't even start yet, folks. So I want to say that when SBA get in order, they will be starting auditing how you use EIDL loan, how did you use RRF, and is RRF used properly? And then IRS come around, will ask you for PPP, and is that duplicated with your other grants? So all of these compliance audit will come in. So folks, don't throw away anything you have for 2020, 2021. And the years that you're going to keep your document, if you want to know the year, let me tell you, it's 7. It's 7, folks. And with your loan going on EIDL, those are 30-year loan. And I will say that you keep it for 30. So those are the things, folks, if you want to survive in small business world, you need to do what Ying is telling you today. And these are heartfelt advice, and you cannot escape from your fate because we're facing it. The whole small business crowd is facing the same challenge. You are not alone, but you definitely can fail if you don't take steps to do things. All right. So I want to conclude our today's conversation with going back to our 7 to-dos for you. Number 1, consciously realize you need to be strong. Your mental strength has to be there. And this is temporary. And we will come through, economy will get better. I have confidence in our president and in our leadership in the country, and we have always come around. But 2022 It's a dark time for small businesses. And develop your niche. Know what you can do, know what you can do. And don't try to be everything. It's not a time. And try to rethink your labor forces. And don't think that all your labor has to come from that area. No, I don't have to hire accountant to be accountant. I can hire mathematicians to be accountant. Okay, so just think different ways on the labor side. And, we always see people being creative. And to be creative on how you look for labor, you may turn into a manpower company. Have them supply your labor, all right? And find new ways to do your business. Even smallest thing can be new. For example, and just have clients pay your bills on the phone. Smallest way to make it new. And to change your menu, make it new. So finding small ways to create a new ways and new feelings for your customer about your business. And open-minded with new pricing. It doesn't mean that you raise the price, you cannot come down. But if today your supply was high, have you ever seen that when you go to a restaurant, they have this market price? They don't have a price. They have a market price. Why? Because the supply price was not stable. So why can you just have that mentality for market price? Protect your profit margin, protect your business by knowing that you need to be flexible on your pricing, okay? And then surviving, plan for survival with less sales. Plan that. Figure out if I lose sales by 10%, 20%, 50%, what do I do? Which employee to let go or which area to increase? Plan for that. And always get professional help. What's wrong coming to Community CPA to let us help you? We are the strange animals here because we actually thrive over hard time. And I have very special accountants here, and we don't give up and we don't give in. And we really help our client. We know what we can do. We can make our clients successful. Then in turn, we get paid. So we will be successful regardless of the economy. But for some businesses, if you don't have that level of confidence like what I do, and you just need to rethink those 7 steps I was talking to you, engage, invest in professional help, get involved with your professional trade association, learn what other people do, and just really better yourself by engaging yourself with people who has more experience, okay? And I want to know you, if you're sitting there goes, well, no way, I cannot make it. And I think I'm just done. And you are running a $20 million business, you talk like that, I want you to come to my office tomorrow. And I will take care of you, even though tomorrow is a Sunday. All right, so I conclude my today's talk with you, and I have been wanting to talk to you about this for a long time because throughout the tax season, I don't really have time to sort through my thought, but now I knew what we're going through. And if you have any questions, and contact our firm, and to find us on YouTube and give us comments. And if we have done a great job for you folks, I want you to do one thing for me. To go on social media, tell people we have done a great job for you. That's the only way we can save more businesses. Small business, we need to be united. How do we unite? To share knowledge like what we do today. I will talk to you again. See you on Tuesday. Okay, bye-bye.